In Hopkinton this evening, rallying for 16-year-old Mikayla Miller, who was found near her home last month. The rally itself is now over, but the crowd has now moved onto the street to continue the demonstration. And her mother just spoke to supporters about an hour ago.
She says her daughter was attacked hours before she died, and she is demanding answers. WBZ's Christina Hager is live with that mother's message tonight. Christina?
Yeah, this was an emotional vigil and rally here. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see some of the activists have gathered in the street here. Mikayla Miller's mother addressed the crowd through tears. She thanked the hundreds who came out in a huge show of support here at the marathon start line.
Say her name. Say her name.
A crowd on the Hopkinton town green mourning the 16-year-old Mikayla Miller. Her mother, Calvina Struthers.
She was my bright and shining star in this crazy world.
High school students were let out of school before 11 this morning, well before this gathering for their classmate who was found dead in the woods last month. In the absence of real answers, rumors have alleged she was bullied and murdered.
Is an unspeakable tragedy.
Even though the district attorney, Marion Ryan, says the cause of death not known yet.
I want to make sure that I am clear about my goals in all of this. It's to have full transparency and get justice for my daughter, Michaela.
Earlier this week, Ryan said Michaela had been in a fight the night before her body was discovered, but Ryan said cell phone technology and witness interviews indicate the others involved were not with Michaela when she died.
I don't want to be a vigilante in this. I don't want to have to spend all day on the phone getting and passing along evidence in order for justice to be served. What I want is for the criminal justice system to work.
And Michaela's mother said there are some things that just don't add up here. Some glaring omissions from the police blotter. No police report when she asked for it. And now you hear the crowd chanting, demanding justice. In Hopkinton, Christina Hager, WBZ News.
All right, Christina, thank you. Now, according to the district attorney, Marion Ryan, Michaela was found in the woods on April 18th at about 7:45 in the morning. The evening before, the DA says she was in a fight with other teenagers. Her mother says she was attacked by them. Around 9:30, Michaela's mother went to sleep, according to the district attorney, believing that Michaela was still in the apartment. But later that night, they say between 9 and 10, the DA says data from Michaela's cell phone shows that her phone traveled about 1,300 steps, roughly the distance between her home and where she was found. The district attorney has also said that the teens in that previous altercation were not in the area around the time of her. DA is promising answers for Michaela's family. She says that will take some time. Stay with WBZ and CBSN Boston as we continue to follow this story.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Lake County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you in your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop. Taylor House Publishing.
All right, peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen. The video that you just saw was regarding the untimely demise of 16-year-old Mikayla Miller in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. Mikayla lost her life on April the 18th, 2021, nearly 3.5 years ago, in the woods in the almost predominantly white town of Hopkinton, Massachusetts. That part of Massachusetts has a population of 93% white, some Asians, Indians, but only 0.01% African American. Now, there's a lot of details and suspicions to this case, and depending on who you're talking to is going to determine on what you believe. Now, Michaela was reportedly involved in a relationship with this young lady, Caitlin Anderson. Now, apparently the two young ladies have been dating for about 2 years, and it is reported by Caitlin, who you see, of course, is white, and Michaela is black, that she had begun to break off the relationship with Michaela. And it was on one particular day, April the 17th, that her and 4 other white friends allegedly came to Michaela's apartment, in which she shared with her mother, to pick up some of her belongings. Now, it was said that, according to Caitlin, that Michaela tried to pressure her into getting back into the relationship, and they got into an argument which turned physical. And Caitlin, the white girlfriend, actually admitted to punching Michaela in the face. And the next day, a jogger found Michaela in the woods with a belt tied around her neck. And the medical examiners, the police, everyone of the law enforcement and medical authority, guess what they did? They ruled Michaela's demise as self-inflicted. And the mother, Miss Calvina Struthers, does not believe for 1 second that her daughter committed this act upon herself. Now, the mother believes that, her daughter was jumped by 5 white teens. And because of that, and because, she was involved in a intimate relationship with this young white girl, the mother believes that there's definitely some foul play involved. Now, at the time of Michaela's demise, it is said, I believe, that the mother was out of town in Chicago. Nevertheless, some of the actions of Caitlin, which is the white girlfriend, seem almost suspicious, if not premeditated. Now, about 2 weeks before this quote-unquote argument, this breakup, Caitlin sent an email to the school guidance counselor. And in that email, she informed the guidance counselor that, I am really worried about Michaela because, she's, having panic attacks and crying spells, and she's all over the place, and I didn't know who she could talk to. And, I wish, she could probably talk to you. Now, that's only 2 weeks after she reportedly was breaking up with the young black girl. Now, also, she told reporters and investigators in another article, and this is Caitlin saying, well, the reason I wanted to break up with her because she was coming too dependent on me. She was, texting me every few seconds, and it started to mess with my own mental health. And so now she's portraying the narrative that, Michaela was just so head over heels for me and when, I break up with her, then, she just couldn't take it and she went in the woods and tied a belt around her neck and unalived herself. Now, the mother, Carolina Struthers, went out to the scene and they examined that tree, supposedly, that she was tied to. And the mother says that that tree was not sturdy enough to hold her weight. Now, sounds familiar? Javion McGee, tied to a tree. Mental health, as they tried to say. Now, also, the mother seems that there has been a lot of lack of transparency. It's like, the police and the medical examiners are uncooperative. They did release one autopsy report that said that Michaela expired by asphyxiation from hanging. Now, there was a second autopsy report that was done, but the person who released that second report said that they could not release the details. Now, ask yourself, why would a individual or a medical professional refuse to release the details when it could confirm or deny something like this? But a year or two after Michaela's demise, unfortunately, there was still no definitive ruling in the case. The case, quote unquote, remained open, but deputies and police are saying that there still is no evidence of foul play. Now, they also looked at the text messages and the phone pings from two of the young ladies who were involved in the altercation with Michaela, and they said that they were miles away at a McDonald's at the time, and so they could not have done it at the time that she expired. But mind you, she was found at 9:30 at night. So just because she was found at a time does not mean that that is when the expiration occurred. Now, also, I looked at some articles from some of the local papers. The Hopkinton News wrote an article, and you see it titled there, "The Aftermath of Michaela Miller's Tragic Demise." Now, in this article, they are almost vilifying the mother, Michaela, and activists who came to their defense because they wanted transparency. Now, the article goes on to portray this tumultuous relationship between Michaela's mother and her 16-year-old daughter, highlighting alleged arguments that they have had. They just tried to paint Michaela as just some abused child who, was not loved by her mother. Now, also, they went on to vilify one of the activists that came to their aid and was holding rallies and once again demanding transparency and justice from the Hopkinton Police Department. This article is littered with shots towards Michaela, her mother, and activists and other people who really want transparency and justice in this situation. But it also paints Caitlin, the young girl who allegedly went to this girl's house and fought her and punched her and may or may not have been involved in Michaela's death. It paints her as a victim. And if you read this, it says, but Michaela was not only the only victim. Caitlin Anderson repeatedly endured painful and unfair allegations. Her mother, Megan, told Newsweek that her daughter has been subjected to doxing, character assassination, and relentless harassment because of the false accusations floated by activists. She withdrew Caitlin from Hopkinton High mid-year. Now, as I always say, if you're not careful, the media will have you thinking that the victim is the criminal and the criminal is the victim. I'm not saying this young lady, Caitlin, is a criminal, but they have definitely portrayed Michaela as some mentally unstable, almost bullying, trying to bully the girl into a relationship, who had a tumultuous relationship with her mother, who had been going to court, been fighting, and all of those things, right? But they paint this lily white girl from a lily white town as, yeah, it's, you know, she's been the victim of harassment, and she can't even go to school anymore, and this, that, and the other, when there's a suspicious act that happened right after you went to this young lady's house and basically assaulted her. And so I don't think that any accusations, any questions to your character or involvement in this situation is unwarranted. You know, I just don't, and especially with, once again, a predominantly white child. We know from past experiences that, you know, people protect their own. And so these articles that I've read, and there's a couple of more, but once again, there was no national outcry. You see a couple of rallies where a lot of people came out. You know, you see a lot of white people in the audience. But as the one activist, told the people there, and she told them, you need to call for an independent investigation instead of going home to eat your cheese sandwich and say you showed up for the Negroes. Now, that may be considered harsh, but as we have seen through all of these protests, through all of those outrages, that people do come out from all nationalities, but then it's like that's all that was done. We showed up for the rally, but we're not trying to change. We're not trying to call for justice. We're not trying to dismantle these systems. We're not trying to do anything for these things to cease happening. But when they're happening, yeah, we can all come together and agree that they are wrong. But why can't we come together on all fronts and come together and figure out a way to stop these wrongs, or at least right them? And so the article went on to denigrate, once again, the activists, and saying that, discrediting her, bringing up her, issues with the organization that she ran. Once again, that has nothing to do with the case. But, I'm always skeptical. I think the mother has moved from that town. I don't know why anyone would want to stay in towns of that nature if they know that there is, a history of, or a probability of, when things go awry, like these young children relationships, then, you're going to be on the short end of the stick. And, this last article, I want to show you, this is the article, another article that focuses on Caitlin Anderson and, her mother, and, all of the trials and tribulations that they have been through because of another child's demise, in which people think you may have had something to do with. And in this article, it goes on to once again talk about, how people are staring at her and calling her names, and how she hasn't had a chance to mourn. She didn't go to the funeral or any services because it just seemed unreal. The mother says that Caitlin has been going through hell and freaking out, and all of these things. But then the article continues once again to vilify the mother of this child and the child itself and the activists who has been trying to help the mother out. So once again, this case is 3.5 years old, but of course, if you're like me, I didn't hear about it until somebody sent me this information. So without that, I would not have known about it. And so I decided to bring this to light because this is another strange case of a black individual being found that just, let's, you know, in 1865 tactics in a predominantly white town. Once again, this town is 93% white, 0.01% black. And so when something like this happens to a black individual, which mimics, you know, some of the atrocities of the past, I don't think it is without or out of the question to even hint, if not outright assert that there is some foul play going on. Nevertheless, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a blessed day.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you in your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop.
Taylor House Publishing.